1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
All right, I'm going to do this one. This is a persuasive speech for my class for Central Texas College. First thing I want you guys to see is a couple events that have happened here in the past couple of years. These are things that have happened at mostly large universities. The Appalachian School of Law is in Virginia. It's not very large, but it is a very well-known school. Now, one thing that we ask ourselves when we see events like that and stuff is, how does this stuff happen on college campuses? Everybody is always talking about how there's such good protection. It makes you think if the gun laws that are out there are actually protecting us, or if these people that are coming into these places and shooting up the place, or taking hostages, or hurting somebody, if it's actually beneficial to us with the gun laws that we have for main campuses and things like that. According to the FBI, violence attacks happen every 22 seconds. And, you ask yourself, why do I have to be one of those victims that has something happen in 22 seconds, a day? So, the National Conference of State Legislatures, they keep a record of any time that legislation comes across, state legislation or federal legislation, about the pretty much anything really that's going on largely in the U.S. right now. Just this year, in 2013, 19 states introduced legislation supporting concealed carry on campuses. Different effects. Some of them were for student use, some of them were for faculty use. 5 of those states introduced legislation to prohibit concealed carry on campus. So you have 19 for and 5 against. Of those, 2 bills supporting it passed, and none actually passed to prevent concealed carry. So, of all 50 states, there are 49 that actually have concrete concealed carry laws in place for any individual in society to actually carry weapons. 22 bans for concealed carry on campus, and then 22 allow the institutions to make the decision. Some of the states that allow concealed carry on campus are Arkansas, only for faculty; Colorado; Mississippi. You do have to take a voluntary safety course that the college itself mandates. Oregon, Utah, Wisconsin, and Kansas. And Kansas specific implementation is put in there to say if the colleges in the state cannot provide adequate security, then you are allowed to carry on campus. So that's one big thing that's out there for at least that college. Now, West Virginia Code, this is West Virginia Code. It basically says that any person that carries a weapon that is legally allowed to and carries a weapon on a public institution has the right to carry, but if the public institution of any kind, whether it be the local bowling alley or wherever it is, if they do not like the idea of you carrying, they can ask you to leave. If you do not leave, you're guilty of a misdemeanor. The same goes for if you are carrying and they ask you to relinquish your weapon. If you walk into a place and they say, we're going to lock up your weapon, but you can come in otherwise. If you refuse, you can also be accused and hit with a misdemeanor charge. So that's really what the state of West Virginia is. The state itself tries to do a hands-off approach to limiting licensed firearm rights. They really don't want to be the devil's advocate for that. So most institutions, private and public, take the stand that they provide adequate protection for their students, and students carrying a concealed weapon are considered a liability. It's a big argument I've heard over the past couple of years, especially since the Virginia Tech incident. So that's something that has always been a big fight between people out there. So it makes you wonder why concealed carry should be allowed on school premises. So if you take that into retrospect, if something were to happen on campus, it takes 8 minutes, average police response time anywhere in the U.S. Some places could be a second faster, usually nothing better than a 6-minute response time, and that's only if you have police stationed somewhere very close by. The response time in Virginia Tech was 8 minutes. It took them 3 minutes to get on site, but to get inside the building and to get to where they needed to be, it took them a total of 8 minutes. The response time for Sandy Hook even though Sandy Hook itself was a an elementary school, the response time was 20 minutes. If it had been anything else, somebody could have been badly hurt. And just to give you an idea, the 8 minutes it took for police to get to the Virginia Tech shooting, the shooter himself expended 170 rounds before people arrived to help. Now there's a lot of stuff that goes on. Mass shooters are one thing, but there are a lot of other incidents that happen. In 2010, the FBI reported 175 murders, 13,842 sexual offenses, and 21,675 aggravated assaults on college and private institution campuses. So that's a lot of things that can happen to you outside of just the random mass shooter. According to the Supreme Court in Warren versus District of Columbia, the police don't even have a legal right to protect you. You can't sue the police. You can't sue the public institution. So who's really protecting you? Why should we carry on legal, or why should we want to carry concealed on legal terms for college and university grounds? Most of the time, most of the people that are carrying on grounds, they're either going to be law-abiding citizens or do what's right and are registered and they've taken safety classes, or it's going to be somebody that doesn't have the right to carry and have some kind of a problem. The law allows use of firearms protection in need of deadly force, reasonable danger to life and well-being. And if you draw or flash your weapon, it's actually a crime, so you would lose your right to carry anyway. If somebody applies for a permit, they have to take safety classes and stuff anyway, so it's not like you're able to just fudge the system to carry. So that answers why it's easy to get a gun, but the permit itself, you have to go through a lot of hoops to get that. And usually the only people willing to do that, people want to do it federal, or do it legally. So people say the sight of a weapon at school can be scary or distraction. If you're concealed carrying, nobody should know you have it anyway. There shouldn't be any reason for anybody to think that. According to Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, 4.3% of students are licensed concealed carriers, most of which can't carry on premises. So, at WVU, that would give you about 155 people who might be around you in the event that something were to happen, whether it be on campus, off campus. So that would give them a chance to get there before anybody else. I'm going to leave this with two of my favorite quotes. First one here is by Thomas Jefferson. Dangerous individuals that commit crimes are not licensed nor law-abiding citizens in most cases. And the final one, Clint Eastwood. Very, very nice representation. If anybody's going to be carrying a gun, you want it to be somebody that can take control of the situation. Gun control hasn't cured the problem. The cities with the strictest gun control laws have the highest crime rates and murder rates. For example, New York City, D.C., Baltimore, all of them have extremely strict gun control laws. So that's a good reason why you should be able to carry a concealed weapon on premises for a school.
It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10.